Hey guys, Ben Hart here, and I want to talk about what to practice when you're first trying to really be able to move about the fretboard in the country style. So one thing I like to do when I'm learning a new style, and I found it very beneficial, and I would say I did it, I think it was 2,800 times and some change. What I did was I would create a improv solo, no melody attached. I know there's going to be haters down in the comments, but just hold on. No melody attached. And I would confine myself to like 4 different positions to kind of learn it all over the neck, because then I could play, and I had developed licks in that style and knew how to play over chord progressions. So I made up something that I felt like was cookie cutter to that style, and then learned to play that. In different positions, you're learning the different shapes of like the cage system and stuff like that, and so then you just kind of learn to move it around. So I picked the key of A because that's a really popular key to play, and I did end up doing some other keys and stuff, but the other ones came way faster once I learned one. So do this 2,800 and some change times, and yeah, and this'll get you going. And then after that, yes, is it more important for there to be melody involved and hooks and not just shredding all the time? Absolutely. No one say that I said to do that, but you need to be able to do the other and then back off a little bit, and then be able to, but if you don't have that under your fingers, then I don't feel like you can think as melodically and stuff like that, because you're still trying to figure out what to play. So learn how to, what I call 8th note gunning it, where you can just, rip it the whole time, and then back off and learn to play some nice melodies and different things like that. And you're gonna use the 8th note gun one day. Sometimes the song has been sung and you want it. And so I'm gonna go through maybe an example of what I'm talking about, and you guys can create your own. And if you want it, put it down in the comments, and maybe I'll do a whole video on what I did. It was really good for me to do my own, because I thought about my own chord changes. But I know when you're first beginning, sometimes it's nice to have some patterns, which I give you a lot of patterns so far on this little channel here. Okay, so I did A, and it's kind of like I want to be right here. Some opens involved, and I kind of go barely in between 2 positions, but I'm thinking down here, but right here a little bit. And then I'll think about right here, and then I'll think about right here, and then I'll think about right here, and then making my way up there. So it's kind of like I'm learning all these different things. So let me see what the chord progression was. It was A, I think a couple bars of D, and then A again, then E, something like that. So it was a couple bars of things. So I was learning to play over 2 bars, 4 bars at a time. I think 2. I started out like that because this was a classic bend that I needed to learn. Even though it started in this position, kind of went down here, I was going back and forth. So I actually started that because I wanted to get that, because this is the classic. And then that was setting up. There was over an A, and then I think over a D, I started incorporating some open notes, because it is important to know open notes and to think about that, because I see people that play everything pressed down and they can move all across the fretboard, but they don't. The guitar has open notes, and that is something that other instruments don't have, the contrast in that. So I think it's important to know that. I think when I went to a D, I did that. So it was like D, then I went back to an A. Yeah, so I just went, and then I think it went to E. It's been a long time. I really had it to where I could just rip it at one time, but now I just use parts of it in my brain and stuff, and I can't remember the exact sequence I used. Yeah, so then it went E to D, so I went, now D, and then back to A, back to E. So I learned how to play over, like, a lot of 2-bar situations, so the brain had to move. So I think it was like, now D, A, now E, Now D, A, E, kind of close to like, you know, like how blues sets it up and ends on the 5 chord. So, and then, so after I did that, I played over that same chord progression, and then I moved down here, and so I did that over A, I think. And then I did some common things that I thought I would use. And then it was like, here's a double stop little. I made up one of those, which I didn't make it up. I pulled it from somewhere. Okay, so anyway, so I would do that, and then I think I started somewhere up here and did the same thing, and like I started A with this D7 shape. Then had to play D. Something like that. And it got me up to here, yeah. But what I really had to learn over those shapes, and I was learning a chord progression. And I played through that, and, you know, at the beginning it was so like, it's not real good now, but it was, you know, at the beginning it was trying to get that in the tune, and then, and I was learning to use both these fingers on the pick, and I was learning to kind of do some ghost note and choking, you know. But I went through and I took the time, and it took me longer to make it. And then I was like, okay, now I have something solid I'm just gonna go after. And I was learning all these shapes to play over dominant chords, which is kind of that sound. So it was a lot of mix of Lydian sound and common country, double stops and bends and things. And I just put it all over the fretboard. Then after that, I was like, oh, okay, well, if I'm doing this over a D, I can move it down 2 frets and do it over a C. And I'd started on that A shape, and you see how it related. So really pick something and really learn it, whether that be a solo, and then like, you know, learn to play it all over the neck on it. And then I kind of stopped right here at this A shape, because I was like from A to A, and then I just think about like I could, now I'm back to, you know, I'm octaving, and I just had to wrap my mind around that. So I kind of just, it felt kind of like it was 3 different solos that played barely in between 2 positions, but I made sure I hit everything on that. So do something like that and do it 2,800 times. Everybody's got a different number. Some people can do it 500 times and just own it. Do it to where you can do it in your sleep. Do it to where you can do it better than I can right now. I know a lot of those things, but at the time, it really let me be able to start jamming and stuff, because I had those moves. And now I've done variances from it and stuff, but it gave me a foundation. And rip the lick straight off of your favorite things, you know, like, and pay attention to what chords they're playing over. Like, I noticed, like, I was in the restaurant the other day, and Chattahoochee came on. So like, that's like Brent Mason classic, you know, like the, that kind of stuff. It was in the key of C, and when he went to an F, he did something like, and then move that around, you know, like, and know like, hey, that was over an F, and he made it like a dominant, an F7, so it gave it that sound. And learn it better than I just did right there. And that classic thing, that went from D to G, you know, when there's, and you can start using those things and then learn kind of move them, if there's no open notes, move them around on the fretboard a little bit, and then that's gonna really help you out and give you a foundation. But really get some sort of, I don't care if it's just a 12-bar blues that you're playing in a shuffle or in a country thing, but like, you gotta have some improv moves in a certain style that are just under your fingertips, and then you can start really thinking about the song and the melody and melodic and stuff like that to be able to jam and play. So yeah, do it 2,800 times.